You will have seen all over social media fashion influencers getting gifted free clothing in return for content on their social media. I mean, who would not want free clothing? So today's video, I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on how you can get free clothing no matter how many followers you have. Hi, what's up YouTube, it's Dominic from Payday Pickups and I'm back with another video, and as you've seen from that intro, today is much more of an educational video. I'm going to be going over the best tips and tricks on how to get free clothing from a load of different clothing brands. This can also be applied to any other niche, for example like gym products or something like that, but I'm going to specifically talk about clothing because this is a fashion channel. So let's jump into tip number one.
Right.
So the first tip, and this is easily the most important one and it resonates to all of the tips, and that is you've got to add some value. So you gotta think it in the role reverse. So if you were a clothing brand and someone messaged you, you would only send them free items if you're getting something in return. You need to be giving some value. For example, if someone just messaged me for free clothes and they didn't offer anything, they just said I'll post some photos, then I'm not gonna send them clothes because it's not gonna make me more money or help my brand grow. So a few ways on how you can add value. The first of all, it is the number of followers. So you're probably thinking, oh, in this title you said you can have any amount of followers, and I'll explain that later, but number of followers really helps, because if a brand sends you clothing, for example, say if you have 10,000 followers, you post it and then 10,000 new people will see that item, and then you have 10,000 hopefully new customers to your shop. Another way you can add value though, which other people don't think about, is say if you're a photographer, you can provide them good content, and a lot of these brands are just caring about content because they want to post daily on their social medias. So if you're a photographer, you could propose the idea, I take these nice photos, here's my portfolio, and then you could say I can also find good models from like agencies, I'll contact them to wear your clothing, so then they're going to get new good content as well as new models in their clothing. So that is a good way if you're on the photography side on how to get free clothing, and you just get the clothes in your size so you can keep them after you've shot them. Another good idea would be if you're a graphic designer, you could make them cool Instagram content or like revamp their website by offering your services. You could make them like cool little GIFs or something like that. So show your skills on how you can benefit the company. So if you put a good idea in and the brand really fucks with it, they are really likely to go along with you and send you some free stuff. For example, if you're a videographer, you could offer for them to send you the product and you make them a cool little advert, and it's some extra content and something a little bit different. Especially if you're like an animator, you could make them a cool little animation, and like that is something they can't do. For example, you can make their brand logo just spin round, something that most brands probably can't do themselves, and if you offer your services to them in return for clothing, they are likely to take it on. Then a few other things that really help a brand, it is getting more customers and getting more money. So for example, if you are into Facebook ads, say you know Facebook ads and how they work, you could offer your services to run their adverts in return for some clothing, and that is a good way you can benefit a company. Or you could even offer, say for example, if you have a big email list, say if you like run your own blog and you have an email list, a lot of companies want this data so they can then target their newsletter to these new customers. So for example, you could say, oh, send me a few pieces of your clothing and I can feature on my blog, and then I'll give you my email list in return. So you just constantly need to be thinking in your head when you contact these brands, how can I add value to their business? How can I improve their business or provide them something new which they don't already do?
Right.
So now you've got the first tip ingrained in your head, we're going to move on to tip number two, and that is the approach. So sometimes brands will contact you offering their services to send you some stuff. However, majority of the time you should be looking to message these brands, and especially brands that you actually fuck with. So like, don't bother messaging a brand which you don't care about because you want the free clothes, because they're going to tell it's not genuine and they're not going to choose you. So a good idea as well is to find brands that you like, and also try find brands that are like kind of like your similar following. For example, like if I had like 1,000 followers, I would not message ASOS because they're going to be working with big brands and big influencers. So try and find like small, like low-key brands, and they're probably more likely to work with you. And also a huge tip, when you're messaging these brands, do not message them on Instagram because they will get thousands of messages. For example, my business Payday Vintage, we have thousands of message requests and we don't go through them all the time. We go through our emails. It's much more professional, and you can write a lot more in an email over an Instagram message. Then another tip is to find the owner of the clothing brand and email them directly, because people, well, I personally do, check my emails every single day, so they're very likely to see it. So when it comes to emailing the brand or the brand owner, one thing you got to keep in your head is, how can I stand out? Kind of think of it like a CV, like you're applying to a job. How can you make your email stand out over someone else? So go back to tip number 1 and you got to show them your skills and tricks on how you can add value into the brand. And one way that's really good to this is making something called like a media kit. It's basically your own personal portfolio. So you put in like your previous work, you show some of your analytics. For example, like me, I would show my YouTube statistics, my Instagram statistics, show some examples of some photos, and then also show some of my like demographics. So for example, mine's majority is men, so obviously I can target more men's brands, and then also my YouTube channel, it's heavily revolved around men's fashion as well as my Instagram. So it's the correct target audience for a clothing brand, so they are more likely to choose me over just someone who does like, I don't know, who's not really into fashion, they're just a lifestyle blogger, because they have a variety of different followers from different backgrounds, so it's not as well targeted compared to mine with fashion. And another good thing about a media kit too is it just instantly makes you look a lot more professional. It looks like you've put time and you care about your work, and then they kind of know what photos they're going to get out of you because you can show some examples as well as some previous brands. So for example, if you've seen from my channel recently, I've now worked with some big brands such as like Puma, Fila, ASOS, Naked Wolf, like some pretty big brands, and now having them in my portfolio will definitely help. So as you can see, it's clear like a CV, all your previous work experience, the more you have, you're more likely to get that job. So just compare your kind of media kit to kind of your CV. It's kind of like your free clothes CV. And then you're probably thinking as well, oh my god, like how am I gonna have a media kit if I've never done this before? I'm just starting out. Well, you can go out and get like your own photos and create your own stuff. You don't have to specifically have like other brands you've worked with. You can just start out and show your value in your content quality or your creativity. For example, if you're thinking right now, Dom, you've obviously got following, you've been doing this for a while, that is why you're getting free stuff. But on my second channel, it's called 2-1, where we do a load of like traveling, kind of like lifestyle videos. When we had 0 subscribers, we managed to get a brand deal with Flixbus. They are the biggest bus company in the whole of Europe, and they paid for us to do 10 countries in 10 days. Like they basically paid for all our traveling expenses because we had the idea. So we proposed an idea, we planned it out, we made a video intro for them and everything. So we've done the hard work for them. So basically they couldn't turn down the deal. And that's sometimes what you have to do. So for example, these clothing brands, for example, you were the graphic designer, you could make them the graphic before you even ask for the free clothes, but put your watermark on it so they can't steal it, and then they can see your work, say if they love it, they'll send you a few pieces, and then you're finally working with that brand, you're getting some free clothes, and then you can probably work for them in future and make some more money. Right. So moving on to the third tip, I'm now going to show you why you do not need a substantial amount of followers to get free clothing. Because when these influencers start getting a large amount of following, they then start to charge for their services. So for example, when a brand contacts me, I usually send them my media kit as well as my rate. So I would charge for like an Instagram post, an Instagram story, as well as a YouTube video or a TikTok video, for example. So this is where the people with less following can kind of undercut these big kind of influencers. So for example, the small brand, they're not going to have as high of like a marketing or advertising budget, so they are likely to just do like just on a gifting basis. They're not going to pay any of the influencers. So a lot of the bigger influencers will then turn down these brand deals, so then it gives you the chance as a micro influencer to get in with these smaller brands. So these small brands would rather gift clothing to a variety of small different influencers for free from different parts of the country, so they get like a combined larger audience, than sending it to one influencer and paying them for the content. So for example, they give a variety, it looks more genuine too with micro influencers as well, because some big influencers take a load of brand deals, so people can tell, like their followers can tell, oh, this is just a brand deal, so it's not genuine, so they won't engage with the content as well. Whereas if it's a micro influencer and this is like your first time getting something for free, your followers are going to think, oh my god, this is like a nice hoodie, like this is what he actually wears. So it looks more genuine, and that is why a load of these people with smaller following, it's actually kind of more beneficial for these bigger and smaller brands. So this is where you can get in there, and why you should email a load of different smaller companies around the same following as you, and you are likely to hear back from one of them and get some free clothing, as long as you are adding value to their company. Right. So moving on to the fourth and final tip, this is actually equally as important as tip number 1, and this is building strong relationships and doing a little bit extra. So what I mean by doing a little bit extra, and this is from personal experience, and this has usually worked for me. For example, my recent brand deal with Puma, all I had to do on my contract was produce one Instagram photo as well as one swipe up story. But I wanted to stand out because I really want to work with Puma again. So what I actually did, I actually produced 30 different photos in 3 different locations. So I gave them a variety of different choices, and they can then use their content to put on their website or any of their socials. I also produced a YouTube video as well as a TikTok video. And the main reason why I did this is for me to stand out and for them to recognize me. So hopefully now they will notice the quality of my video as well as my TikTok, as well as my work rate and consistency, that they'll think, oh, I know that this influencer influencer, if I work with him again, he'll definitely guarantee me high quality images and he'll give me a little bit extra, which will help our brand grow. So I'm hoping in future that Puma will definitely work with me again. And if it doesn't work and the brand doesn't come back to you, I'm sure another brand will likely see your content, and if they like the quality of your content, then they are likely to join on to you. For example, like say Fila hitting me up after Puma, like that's pretty mad. They probably might have seen the Puma video, and then they're more likely for other brands to come in, see the quality of your content, and then find you and contact you. And then next up, it is building a good relationship. So once I've worked with a brand, I'll usually stay in contact with the owner. First of all, it's good for networking. Second of all, like when you build a good relationship with someone like that, you can ask for advice, and if they ever need any advice, they can give recommendations to you. So for example, if they have like, I don't know, their friend owns another clothing brand or another company, they might say, oh, we're looking for some new influencers, and then they'll recommend you. So it's like word of mouth. So always try and build a good, strong relationship, because they are likely to have a big network of other businesses, other people, and there's no harm in building a good relationship because they can probably benefit you in future. For example, a clothing brand, Remedy Clothing. When I first started my YouTube channel, I think Remedy was my first like clothing brand deal in 2015. And right now I'm currently filming this video in their office. He's been doing his clothing brand now for about 6 to 7 years, and we've worked together for the whole time. We've been on holiday together for shoots. We've been to watch like MMA fighting live. We've done so much together, and now we're really good mates. And literally like he's helped me grow my business and I've helped him grow his business. And trust me, it just works in both ways, and we've helped each other get more brand deals, more suppliers, more money, etc. like that. So always keep strong relationships. But overall, I hope you lot enjoyed this video. If this video gave you some value and you learned something new, all I ask is you hit that subscribe button and put on that notification bell. Please let me know how you get on with securing these brand deals, and if you do, let me know on my Instagram, which is @domhadley_, and be sure to give that a follow. And if you have some free time and you're into men's fashion, be sure to check out the rest of my videos. I do like how-to styles, lookbooks, trip to the thrifts, videos on how to make money, fashion photography, literally anything around men's fashion. Have a nice day, and I will see you all in the next one.
Just the other day, saw you looking my way. I start to contemplate moments that went to waste. Why you do that? You drop me like who that? And put me through that. But baby, it's useless. I'm living my life. Don't need you in mind. Me feeling just fine. One of a kind.